Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you the very next installment of my anime character deck series. Today's episode is a very special one, as this will be a video covering my anime accurate character deck for Syrus Trusdale. Syrus and his lovely little Vehicroids became the main reason why I enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! As much as I do to this very day. I remember going to a shop we have in the UK called Argos with my mum and my best friend after school, and we both picked up a GX starter deck. He wanted the Jaden starter deck, which I was fine with at the time because I had my eyes on a very different prize, which was the Syrus starter deck, and holy shit, the both of us had no idea just how insanely strong that deck was, because we proceeded to take our starter decks into school the very next day, and Syrus and Jaden pretty much curb stomped everyone in the entire school who even dared to attempt to tag duel us. It was a very crazy day, let me tell you. And here we are over a decade later, and my love for these googly-eyed cartoon trucks, trains and planes have absolutely refused to be buried, which is why, on deciding which deck I wanted to construct for the GX era, I decided to betray them and build the deck for Cyrus's edgy brother Zane instead. But as you can imagine, that deck didn't turn out too well, and I wasn't really happy with how little enjoyment I was getting out of it, and it absolutely serves me right for doing something so unspeakable, so heinous to my beloved Roids. But today is the day for some much-needed redemption, and I believe a little bit of a long-awaited apology tour is absolutely on the cards. Now, before I go into this, if you've not checked out the first video where I cover my original series anime deck for Bakura, I go over the format that these decks are played in, as well as the rulings that we, as a friend group, agreed upon to make these decks as fun as they are fair. I'm not going to talk about them in detail in this video, but I will leave a short summary on the screen for you all, just to prevent any confusion going forward. But please go check out that first video, as they are all explained in their full detail, if you will, in that one. But with those formalities out the way, let's crack into this, shall we? This is probably the one I've been looking forward to filming the most so far, I would say. So first up on the monster lineup, we have the lovely Dragonroid. Dragonroid is a 2-tribute wind machine with 2900 attack and 1000 defense. He is a dragon while he's in the grave, which works very nicely with Cyberdark Dragon in our retro deck because he loves dragon types in grave. Aside from that, Dragonroid functions as a big boss monster in the main deck, if you will. Next up, we have Steamroid here. Steamroid is an 1800 either way, and he gains 500 attack when he attacks an opponent's monster, but he loses 500 attack when he is the target for an attack. So either way, he has he's a bit of a double-edged sword, if you will. He's probably more ideal early game than he is later game, especially before your opponent gets any big monsters out to take advantage of that sort of minus attack, if you will. But he is a very strong addition in the deck. Next up, we have Drillroid. I just want to take a moment actually to admire this Drillroid. This is my OG starter deck Cyrus super rare Drillroid that I only recently acquired. I mean, look at that crease. Holy shit, on the camera, that looks terrible. No, I only recently reacquired this Drillroid from that very same best friend that I went to Argos with, and thank you very much, Ben, for giving this card back to me. I had no idea that you even had this card for as long as you did, and when you pulled it out of that binder, my god, I nearly cried my eyes out. So thank you very much for giving me this card back. It really means a lot. Next up, we have Truckroid. Truckroid is a very nice monster. When you attack into an opponent's monster, let's say they're very weak, but they've got a pretty nasty effect, you can swing into that monster, you can kill it, and instead of it going to your opponent's grave, it attaches to Truckroid as an equip spell instead, and he also gains the attack of that destroyed monster. So very nice. You can attach multiple monsters to this guy, so he can really sort of get way out of control if your opponent doesn't deal with him, and he pairs really well with a continuous spell that we'll get into later on. Next up, we have Ambulance Roid. Ambulance Roid can essentially, when you would, let's say, grab a Roid from your grave to your hand, instead of it going to your hand, you can special summon it straight to the field. I wonder if there's a Roid monster that maybe adds monsters from grave to hand. Oh, wait. This guy does it. Expressroid, when he is normal, some would actually think when he's summoned in general. Yeah, when he's just summoned, you can target 2 roids in your grave, pop them to your hand. Oh wait, Ambulance Roid activates. They're onto your field instead. It's a great little 1-2 combo to get some of your roids back for maybe making some more fusion summons, or just trying to swarm the board. Next up we have Stealth Roid. Stealth Roid is a very nice monster for getting rid of spells and traps. If you were to, say, attack with a Roid monster, while this guy's on the field, you can pop a spell and trap on the field, whether that be a face down, whether that be a field spell, whatever, you can destroy it. You can also destroy your own spells and traps, which in this deck is actually useful for a very specific reason, which we'll get into at some later point. Next up we have the current deck's MVP anyways, and I can't believe I'm saying that about a helicopter with only 1,000 attack and defense, but Gyroid is here, and he's absolutely earned his stripes. He won me a 3-way character duel against Chaz and Jaden. Chaz got knocked out of that game rather fast, which only left myself and Jaden to just go back and forth with each other. Gyroid was the only monster I had on the field at the time, and all Jaden could do was keep swinging at me with an Elemental Hero Wild Edge, and I eventually managed to stall out the game long enough to where I somehow won the duel. I can't remember the exact outcome and how I reached that point, but all I remember is that Gyroid was a pivotal part in winning that duel, so well done, mate. You've certainly earned your spot in this deck. Next up we have Submarine Roid. In this format we only play with 8,000 life points instead of the standard 4,000 that the anime have, so Submarine Roid is not as impactful as he would be in the actual anime, but he certainly has his uses. Next up we have Rescue Roid. I pretty much never play this card. I wish I could cut it, but he's here for the sake of Ambulance Rescue Roid, and that's about it really. Next up we have UFO Roid. UFO Roid, whenever it's destroyed by battle, you can select any machine monster in your deck that has 1,500 or less attack and just bring it onto the field. The Cyberdarks actually are included in that little thing, which is actually quite nice. If you need to make Cyberdark Dragon and you're missing a piece, UFO Roid can certainly help you get that last one. Next up we have 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. Look at that beautiful QCR artwork. Gorgeous. This guy is here, or should I say these guys are here to make Cyber End Dragon, and that's probably about it. Aside from that, they are nasty monsters if you can open up with them straight away before your opponent can really build much of a board presence. And next up we have the Cyberdarks. So we have Cyberdark Horn, who can do piercing battle damage. We have Cyberdark Edge, who can attack directly at the cost of half of his attack points. And we have Cyberdark Keel, who can burn your opponent's life points for 300. And they can also attach a dragon from either player's grave that is level 4 or lower to themselves, and they gain the attack of those monsters. Next up we have Cyberdark Phoenix. The Cyberdark Phoenix? Holy shit, Konami, that sounds like a badass card. When are you going to make that one? Cyber Phoenix is what I meant to say. He is great for stopping your opponent's spell and trap card effects from harming your machine types, which is very nice. And he also gets you draw a card, as well as Cyber Valley. You can end your opponent's battle phase and draw an extra card at the cost of this card's banishment, which is a damn right shame. But he's more of a one and done type card, really. Last but not least for the monsters, we have Exploder Dragon and we have Hunter Dragon. Exploder Dragon is just a kamikaze monster. You can attack into something, you destroy them both, no battle damage is taken. Great for getting him in grave. And Hunter Dragon's just a vanilla dragon type that I could think to put in the deck that wasn't too overpowered. And that is the monster lineup for that one. Next up we have the spells. So we have Vehicroid Connection Zone. It's just a stronger polymerization for your Vehicroids, really. We have Shield Crush for getting rid of those pesky defense position monsters. We have Weapon Change, which is the continuous spell card that I mentioned works really well with Truckroid. We have the Oh Shit button that is Cyberdark Impact. This can make Cyberdark Dragon from either your hand, your field, or your grave, which is very nice. We have Overlord Fusion, which you can also make Cyberdark Dragon with, but it's not as effective as Impact. We have Future Fusion. I'm contemplating cutting Future Fusion from this deck, if I'm honest. It's a bit too slow for this sort of format, and it gets targeted way too much. And the monster that you summon turn 1 has Summoning Sickness. If you're familiar with Magic the Gathering, that is. You can summon it turn 1, but it can't attack the turn it's summoned. So I'm contemplating cutting it. I don't know, but I'll see how future games with it go. Future Fusion. Oh, I shouldn't have laughed at that. That was a really bad joke. We have Power Bond next, and we have Defusion. We also have Limiter Removal to help double the attack points of all your monsters, but they get destroyed at the end of the turn. Actually, that's an interesting thing. Just a little side note. I wonder if Vehicroid Connection Zone can prevent the destruction of Limiter Removal. That's something to ponder about. I might have to do a bit of Google searching on that one. Next up, we have MST, Mystical Space Typhoon. We have the standard Polymerization. And we have the standard draw package of Pot of Greed, Card of Sanctity, and Graceful Charity, which would be here, but it's currently in Bakura, and I only own one copy of it for the time being, so just imagine that Graceful Charity is here. And last but not least, we have the trap lineup for the main deck. We have Rebirth Judgment, which is a very nice combo piece with, again, Cyberdark Dragon. We have Wonder Garage, which can be popped with Stealthroid. I mentioned earlier on, you could target one of your traps and get rid of it. This is the card in question. When this card is popped, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Roid from your hand, which is very nice. We have Supercharge, which whenever your opponent attacks and you control only Roid monsters, you can just draw 2 cards. Very strong, actually, in this sort of format anyways. We have the Trap Jammer to stop those pesky battle phase traps like Mirror Force, etc. We have Call of the Haunted for a little bit of recursion. And we have Fusion Guard for a little bit of extra support there for Cyberdark Dragon. And last but not least, guys, we have the extra decks. I've been talking about him all video. Here he is. Cyberdark Dragon. He's very strong if you can manage to get him out. We have Chimera Tech Overdragon, probably the best target of Overlord Fusion, if I'm honest. You can make this guy really fucking big if you get enough monsters in him. We have Cyber End Dragon. Probably the best Power Bond target, if I'm honest. We have Steam Gyroid for the actual Roid fusions. We have Ambulance Rescue Roid. We have probably the worst of Syrus's fusion monsters, but I think he's cool. We have Super Vehicroid Stealth Union. We have UFO Roid Fighter. And we have Super Vehicroid Jumbo Drill. On a note, actually, of Vehicroid Fighter, you can't really properly utilize him in like a one-on-one format. You pretty much have to tag duel with someone like Alexis or Jaden to fully utilize UFO Roid Fighter, but he's here anyways, just in case we come across that. Well, guys, that is pretty much the full list for that one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this inspired you to maybe attempt to make your own GX character deck. Next video will probably be a 5Ds deck, which I'm currently piecing together and acquiring all the parts for, and that one is quite spicy. But no, guys, thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined, if you feel like I've earned it, and I shall catch you in the next one.